So I say this with not trying to shame anybody or not make anybody feel bad or anything like that. It's just questioning and more so trying to acquire knowledge and advice for myself because I feel like I want to pursue this kind of avenue and gaining another way of income, right? But I just feel with how I'm doing things now, it would just be a huge, you know, deter from anything that I'm trying to do, even though it would be a big help. But it's still very hard to even think about it because I can't do the utmost because I still have places I have to be and I don't talk a lot, so it's difficult to try and maneuver so many things when I have a lot of other things that I have to do. But yeah, so basically, I just want to talk about multiple jobs. I'm also questioning the people with multiple jobs, and if you have, and if you come across this, I just want to hear your experiences within the comments or whatnot, because um, this is a very good topic, and I've seen a lot of videos on this myself, as to where I've seen somebody who had 11 jobs before, and they're all online. You know what I'm saying? It's where they have this going on as well as this going on, you know what I'm saying? But I also feel the best that I can do to my ability is probably in-person jobs right now. So that makes things a lot more difficult to be at these certain places and not have, a job that I can just call in from my home. And I'm working towards that right now as well too, if you're wondering. So this could be a whole different conversation down the line, but right now it's about how does it work out for you, and why do you do this? I mean, I understand the why always, you know what I'm saying? I'm finding reasons why for doing it myself, but you know what I'm saying? It's a juggling act because a lot happens in a day, and if you have more mouths to feed, you can't always be there with them, even though you're trying to keep things over their heads and make sure they eat. It's difficult, but as someone who's pretty young and looking at seeing this and being like, hey, I want to cover myself because I have this and that I have to, cover myself. So seeing somebody in an older sense or having more responsibilities than I do, I understand why they have it a lot more and why they push themselves to a limit. It's just a little difficult thinking about how I'm in a groove and how they'll take me out the groove. You know what I'm saying? Because I could possibly do it, but it takes a lot to get out that groove. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's also true for, people who have multiple right now, where you're always in that groove, you're always there, you're always showing up, but it still takes away from you as a person because this is everything you do with these places. They're basically you now, and if you get good at these places, you're basically stuck in those positions. You know what I'm saying? There's so many ways to sit down and dive into this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of looking at them through a lens right now because I'm not trying to get so personal. But it's just basically, how does this affect you? What's your experience? And what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about this thing? Because as I'm doing this now, I've actually done it before, but I've done it only for a few months. And it was during the summer, and I did do it. It was okay, but it was just one day I remember in particular where I had just got off and I went into my last one and I was zombie almost. My legs were gone. My legs were shot. I went into the next job and I was sluggish. I was behind the counter. I was knocked because I worked in a little department store, and I just came off from unloaded trucks. So it's freaking insane trying to sit there and handle customers while I'm dozing off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in pain, damn near. So I have, done this before, but now it's just a little more difficult because I have courses going on. Right now, what I do is primarily at night. So I'm looking for something in the day, but some of my days are very scattered, and I have to be more present for other people than myself. So if I do these things, I'm kind of figuring out how to do these things, maybe on days I'm off somewhere else, going somewhere else, and that's how I can that's the best way I can see it working for me. And that's really where my mindset is at, where I'm trying to look for advice on how I should divide that time up, and I'm figuring out a way to do it. I think it's almost set in stone what I'm trying to do, but I'm just also looking for, if you have experience, or if you've done it for a long time, or you're currently doing it, with some advice, so to speak. What's your situations, and what would you give advice to somebody else who's thinking about doing this, and how do you feel about it yourself personally? Like, truly you, not because you have to, but just you personally. How does it affect you? And this is basically just a discussion video. I'm just throwing a question out there and expressing a little bit about what I'm thinking. But I want this to reach people it's supposed to reach, and we talk about it in comments, or we get into Discord or Zoom or whatever. We talk about these things if we can, and if y'all are interested, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave this open-ended. If this ever finds who it's gonna find, we can talk about things, express all that we're feeling. But if I make another video talking about, hey, I actually did it, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But we can still talk about these things. So with that, y'all, I'm gonna be out. It's been choosing. I'll talk to y'all at some point. Peace.